communications, and outdoor education. And that's just a sampling of degree options. All that and access to 175 campus acres, Burke Mountain, Kingdom Trails, rock climbing, disc golf, and state parks. Your Vermont State University adventure starts here.
More opportunities, possibilities, choices, and connections. More courses, experienced faculty, and student activities, creating a high-quality, flexible, and personalized education. One dynamic academic community. Work better together as Vermont State University, vermontstate.edu.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to wdev@radiovermont.com.
The energy. How does anybody live and drive in Boston every single day? This guy stopped in the middle of the road with his hazard lights on. This guy won't yield. That guy won't let you go. That guy passes in front of you. That guy goes 3 lanes of traffic all in one shot. How does anybody do this? The passion. Look, if the Red Sox aren't going to play Yoshida and Devers as they're about to get swept, then we might as well just give up and go home. The opinions on all your favorite teams. I'm glad that Mac Jones looks better. That's really important. He needs to look better. But if it were a video game, he'd still have an overall rating of 76, and that ain't cutting it.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? A very happy Wednesday to you here on the Brady Farkas Show, brought to you by Fecto Homes, Vermont's total home solution in Montpelier. You can check them out there on the banner behind me, Fecto Homes, if you're watching us on the internet live stream on Facebook Live or on YouTube Live. The text line is open, the AR Auto text line, 802-585-3026. They are sales, collision. They go above and beyond for their customers. They're online, arautosales.com. They're on North Main Street in Barrie. We're up until 5:40 today as we get you Red Sox base, or we're up until 6:10, I should say. We're on for 40 minutes, so we're up until 6:10. Bring you Red Sox baseball. Sox took it on the chin last night against the Marlins. Here's the plan. Tom Caron will join us today at 5:45 in about 15 minutes from now. There is no show tomorrow, so I will speak to Buster Olney tomorrow, but that interview will be on the podcast channel. Again, there is no show tomorrow because of an early Red Sox time. So let's get right to it.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. The Red Sox are going to play their 81st game of the year tonight. This is going to be the official halfway point of the season. The Red Sox will go into that game at 40-40. Okay? They are right now the complete definition of average. 40-40. And my question for you is this on the text line, 802-585-3026. Are you detached from this team? Do you like this team? Do you find this team likable, or are you apathetic? Because I read a story today, and it was very, very long, in which a longtime Red Sox fan said, basically, I don't care about this team. Right? He just said, I don't care about this team. The players, the personalities, the front office, all of it, I just don't care. So I'm asking you, 802-585-3026, are you detached from this team like this writer was? Let me say a few things. One, I am always going to be attached to my favorite teams. Okay? Good, bad, great, horrible. I am always going to be attached to my teams, right? I had the Mariners game on the back, in the background a little earlier on the news when I had a chance to, when we were playing Calvin's segment over again, right? Like, my team's horrible, and I checked in with them during the news while Calvin his pre-recorded interview was going for 5 minutes, just so I could say I watched a little bit of the game today. Like, I am all in on my team, good, bad, or otherwise. So I don't really agree with the writer because I'm always all in. But I know that I am a different breed. I can understand that more casual fans do kind of go up and down based on how good or bad the team is. I also will say that I can understand why this Red Sox team might have you feeling a little apathetic. And I would counter also that the Red Sox are trying to build a team that makes you love them. Okay? There's a lot of different reasons a team can be loved, right? One is that a team is great. The other, though, is that a team is homegrown. I've said this forever. Homegrown teams just mean more to fan bases. And the Red Sox right now don't have enough homegrown players who are really good to be enjoyable to the average fan, I think. So I'm disagreeing with the author for my own perspective. Like, I'm always in, right? You could have a new team next year, the Boston Red Sox, and I'd be all, you could have 25 new players and I'd still be attached. Okay. But if you are a fan that is more detached, I'm telling you, I kind of get it. This team is not as homegrown and as good as the most likable teams are. I think the Red Sox are working to build that. I've always said homegrown teams mean more. Okay. You look at the Red Sox 2018, right? That team, very likable. They won the World Series. Well, at the core of that team is Mookie Betts, homegrown player. Xander Bogaerts, homegrown player. Is Andrew Benintendi, homegrown player. Jackie Bradley Jr., homegrown player. Right? Your best players, some of your most important players had been there 4, 5, 6 years. Devers is young, but he's a homegrown player now when he comes up and he's exciting. Yes, there are the Sales and there are the Kimbrels and there are the Evaldis. There's always going to be transplants. But at the core of your team was a young, exciting, homegrown core that had been there forever. Okay? And that is what, not only was the team good, but because it was homegrown, the team resonated. The Red Sox, I believe, are trying to get to that. Right now, there's so much roster upheaval that I get why you find it harder to draw attachments. Let's think about it from a UVM perspective, right? Let's hyper-localize this. The UVM men's basketball team, right? Ben Shungu is literally a homegrown player, but he's there for 4, 5, 6 years. All of the Duncans are long-term players. Those players resonate with the fans more than a Dylan Penn does, who is here for a year. Finn Sullivan, who is here for 2. Cam Gibson, who is here for 2. They're all good players. They're all part of the program. But the guys that are here always, have been here forever, they're always going to have our hearts more. You're always going to connect with them more. That's what the Red Sox don't really have right now. Okay? Kike Hernandez, he's been here now 3 years. Okay, he's kind of teetering. He's kind of there. People like him, but he's not great. Okay? Duran's not at that level yet. Casas isn't at that level yet. Whitlock's not at that level yet. Houck's not at that level yet. But other than that, like, there's a lot of roster turnovers. Devers is the only guy you really feel connected to. Why are Yankee fans so beholden to Aaron Judge? Yes, he's great, but he's a homegrown player. Why do Yankee fans not like Giancarlo Stanton? Not a homegrown player. It's not rocket science. So when I read this article that says, I'm apathetic to this Red Sox team, I took that as to mean like they just don't have people you can latch on to. And why don't they have people to latch on to? Because they're working on building the farm system. They're trying to build that next wave of guys like they had in 2018, right? They don't have a Dustin Pedroia right now. They don't have a Xander Bogaerts. They don't have a Mookie Betts. Devers is it. Okay, they're trying to build that. You're going to feel that way with Marcelo Meyer. You're going to feel that way with Nick York. You're going to feel that way, hopefully, as Tanner Houck, as Brian Bayo continues to grow. You're going to feel that. At least I hope you do. Ralph over in New York says, Brady, you show loyalty. I'm with you, brother. I never give up on who I root for. And that's true. I never give up. Look, my Mariners will finish 75 and 87 this year. I will watch as many games as I possibly can. And if my football team's going to finish 4 and 13, I'm going to watch every single game of the football season. That's the way I am. I will always be loyal to my team. I will always care about my team. I will always be invested. But I know that I am different. The average fan, I think, does kind of come and go. And this author is saying that I'm going on this team and I'm trying to figure out why. And the answer is, to me, not just that they're not great. The answer is that they're not great and that they're a team full of movable roster parts, right? Pablo Reyes, you don't have an attachment to. And you don't have an attachment yet to Casas or yet to Duran. You don't have one yet to Yoshida. You don't have one yet to Duvall. You're developing one to Verdugo. Devers and Verdugo. That's it. You don't have one to Reese McGuire. You don't have one yet to Kenley Jansen or to Justin Turner. It's a team full of parts that have been interchangeable. There's a small number. When that number gets bigger, which is what the Red Sox are trying to build, then I think you will start to feel like I feel, where the team kind of feels like family, for lack of a better term. Right now, it doesn't. Tex says they're a disappointing team, but if you truly love the Sox, you always care. More likable team than last year, especially because of young players like Bello and Casas. That kind of makes my point, though, right? You're telling me I like this team more because it's got young, homegrown players. That's an important thing. And as the Red Sox build that up again, you will start to feel that. So I'm telling the author of this piece, like, I do get it, but the Red Sox are working on it. And I'm not trying to just stunt for management. I'm not happy that the team's in last place. I'm just saying you can see the organization building what we all covet, which is a young homegrown core. Texter says, I'm a Sox fan. Doesn't matter who they have in the lineup. I will always listen. Good times and bad times. That's baseball. Texter says, I'm officially detached. They remind me of the late 60s and early 70s. They don't have any pitching. Tex says, we'd all be in love with a team of movable parts if they were in first place. That's true. Right? That's true. Like, I look at the Texas Rangers. Texas Rangers are a team full of nothing but transplanted guys. I imagine their fans like them. But it does mean more when they're homegrown. Marco over in Warren says, I'll always feel connected to the Sox, but I do feel confused about where this team is going. They can't seem to get any real momentum. Hard to forgive some of Bloom's decisions on personnel, but maybe we're starting to see the core next year. This is what the Red Sox have done. And it took me a while to figure it out. The Red Sox have tried to do something that's very difficult. And in 2021, I criticized them for it, and I had to put egg on my face because they got to the LCS. But this year they're tried to do it, and it hasn't worked out. The Red Sox are trying to have their cake and eat it too. Okay, the Red Sox are not going all in at the major league level. They're not going all in. They're trying to strike gold and do enough to be competitive and be interesting and hope they catch lightning in a bottle. That's why you see the short-term veteran signings, right? Justin Turner, Kenley Jansen, Adam Duvall. You see them go out and get Kluber at the beginning of the year. Before that, it was Garrett Richards and Martin Perez. Like, they're trying to do enough at the major league level to strike gold. And they're trying to do everything at the minor league level to build a solid base. Right? The Pittsburgh Pirates got the system, right? They got the team, build up the system, right? They're horrible at the major league level for 3, 4, 5 years. Seattle Mariners got the major league team, build up the system. They're horrible for 3 years. Chicago White Sox got the system. Okay, a lot of teams will tear the major league team down to the studs and then build up the minor league system in a bigger pace. The Red Sox have tried to have their cake and eat it too, and as a result, they're kind of stuck in neutral. They don't have the best farm system in all of baseball. It's better, right? It was like 29th when Bloom took over. I think it was 11th before this year, maybe 13th. The farm system is getting better, but it's not getting better at an accelerated race like Baltimore's did or Seattle's did. And they're also not good enough at the major league level, right? They're not going all in and being great, and they're not selling everything and being horrible. And that's what they've tried to do. They've tried to navigate a very difficult balance here that I do think is almost impossible in sports. I hate tanking, trust me. But there's real validity to, hey, we're going to be awful for 3 or 4 years, and then we're going to try to be good. Whereas the Red Sox are like, okay, we're kind of got our foot in both camps. And that's very difficult. Marco and Warren says, who is Bloom actually drafted? Well, he drafted Nick York and Marcelo Meyer, who were two people that you actually pointed out to me in the previous text. He drafted both of those players. So right there, off the bat, he drafted both of them. We'll get to Tom Caron of NESN. We'll ask him his take on the Red Sox. So we'll do it next on DEV.
Hi, hon. Want to tag along to the grocery store with me?
Sure, but I just filled up the car with gas, and with those prices, we gotta be careful with groceries.
It's crazy. All the basic staples have gotten so expensive. But good news. Tina told me about this great app called Upside that pays you back big time just for using it. She said with the Upside app, she earns serious cash back on groceries and gas.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that we can actually get paid back real cash when we use the Upside app to buy gas and groceries?
Yep. Tina said they made around $200 already.
Wow, finally something that pays us back money instead of costing us more. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas and groceries. Cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ESPN1 to save an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. Remember, use code ESPN1 to save an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Attention Red Sox fans. The WDEV Red Sox fan bus is heading to Fenway Park on Sunday, August 6th to watch the Red Sox take on the Toronto Blue Jays. And you could be on board. Winner receives 2 tickets to the game and round-trip transportation on the WDEV fan bus. Sign up at one of the following locations for your chance to win.
Sticks and Stuff in Middlesex. Waterbury Service Center, Main Street, Waterbury. Stowe Beverage, Mountain Road, Stowe. Willie's Store, Greensboro. Waterbury Sports, Main Street, Waterbury.
A pair of tickets to see the Red Sox take on the Toronto Blue Jays and round-trip bus transportation. Sign up today. No purchase necessary. Winners announced on Thursday, July 27th. More details at WDEVradio.com.
The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
Now it's back with the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show here on this Wednesday, WDEV, AM and FM at WDEVradio.com. Going until 6:10 tonight. Red Sox baseball takes the airwaves then. Sox looking to rebound from another big loss yesterday against the Miami Marlins. Joining us now is Tom Caron, our Sox insider over at NESN. TC, how are you?
I'm doing good, Brady. How you doing?
Excellent. I'm going to throw you a curveball here. I don't know if you heard, but they're calling me Mr. Hockey now all of a sudden because I want to start with you here in the end of June talking about the Bruins. Bruins trade away Taylor Hall. They trade away Nick Foligno. Apparently, they're planning on Bergeron and Krejci both not being back. Now, I don't think the Bruins are done as a contender. We saw what Florida did this year, just get into the playoffs and anything can happen. But based on all the change, would you agree with me that last year was the Bruins' last best chance?
Well, I don't know that it's last chance. It might have been the best chance, and clearly the window of that group has closed, right? If Bergeron and Krejci are not coming back, it's going to be a new era. And how Sweeney navigates this summer is going to dictate what that era looks like. And it begins with that thing, and that's what he's doing right now, right? He's already begun the process. I would be shocked if both Omar and Swayman are here on opening day. I think they're going to have to make a move there. 2 goalies is a luxury, and right now, because of the salary cap, you can't afford that money. So I would imagine one of them are going to get moved, and all of that should ultimately free up money to try to find somebody who can begin to replace what you're losing offensively with Bergeron and Krejci. Bertuzzi would be a very good fit towards that, but that can't be all. So, this is navigating from that group to the next group that you hope opens the next window, but the current window is closed.
I don't know enough about it cap-wise to know the answer to this, but Allmark is under contract. Swayman is a restricted free agent. Can't they just let someone else sign Swayman away and not try to match it and make it simple? Or do you think they might want to choose Swayman over Allmark, in which case they then sign Swayman and trade away Allmark?
Well, I mean, you could do that. You could. But I think the problem is you're getting nothing in return, right? Swayman is still an asset. And if you give up an asset for nothing, that's a wasted asset. So, I mean, you would get the salary cap. That would be good. Doing that without getting anything in return, I think it's missing an opportunity. And I think that's why you're trying to get something back. You know, the other day, the trade they make so far, you've got organizational depth. They got defensemen, they gave you depth. Even if that's all you get for a goalie, it's better than getting nothing for a goalie, isn't it?
NHL draft is tonight. The Bruins don't have a first-round pick because they dealt it in the Bertuzzi deal. Is there any reason for me to care about the draft from a Bruins perspective?
I don't know. I'm a tough one for that. I'm not a draft guy to begin with, and I'm stuck in baseball, so I'm not sitting around looking at who's coming out. But the hockey draft is weird because it's one of the few sports where you're not really drafting. Well, in baseball, where you're deciding between high school and college. You're deciding between college and junior and European. There's a lot there. I mean, but this is, listen, they've got some guys in Providence who are probably getting ready to make a move up to the NHL. And that goes back to what I thought with organizational depth. You're trying to get deeper. You've got to constantly have that pipeline of talent coming up, and that's where the draft comes in.
All right, Mr. Hockey is done. Now we're back into my sweet spot. We're going to talk baseball again. We're talking with Tom Caron, our Sox insider over at NESN. Sox gave up a 10 spot yesterday to the Marlins and losing. TC, you had teased in about the sixth inning or so that you were going to have a talk with Chaim Bloom at the post-game show. I'll be honest with you, I was so dejected I didn't watch the post-game show. How was the talk with Chaim Bloom about the trade deadline and thoughts on what he needs to see?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty straightforward about exactly what all of us see. He doesn't know what the team is. 40 wins, 40 losses. Tonight is the halfway point of Major League season, the 81st game. And we don't know what the team is. You know, a week and a half ago, we're in the middle of a 6-game winning streak, and you're thinking, okay, now we're seeing something. Now you start to understand what this team can be. They've lost 5 of 6 hits, back at 500. They are 2-11 against National League teams at Fenway Park this season. It's one of the more frustrating teams. Now, talking to some guys in that clubhouse, Kenley Jansen and Chris Martin and Adam Duvall, they've been with teams that were hovering, especially Duvall and Martin were with that Atlanta team that was a game under 500 later in the season, and this one went on to win the World Series because they added. Now, is Bloom ready to do that? It doesn't strike me as the type that's going to take a whimsy and go find a couple of stars. But, you could easily go the other way with this team and say, James Paxton would have a ton of trade value. Justin Turner would have a ton of trade value. Chris Martin would have a ton of trade value. A lot of guys on this team who probably aren't going to be in the future plan could really help a contender out. So if they decide to go that way, this thing gets broken up, but then that's a really ugly second half for what's remaining of the Boston Red Sox. So they're right there. They got a bump on the trade deadline. He's got to figure out what he's going to do. Is he buying something? Because last year he tried to do both, and that didn't work.
This year, given the injuries and given the money, I totally get it. And I've always been in the camp of Garrett Whitlock, who should be a starter. But I saw the numbers yesterday. I mean, he is significantly better as a reliever. Are you having any doubts about his ability to start long term for the franchise?
Well, yeah, because I've been down so long.
Maybe he's going to have to be careful with his demonstration here not to get tossed. You're trying to elude the catcher. All of the took the catcher on the foul ground.
He's given up 10 runs in 11 2/3 innings over his last 2 starts. And his numbers as a reliever are dramatically and because he's starting pitching right now, and I think you have to see a junior or second year
coming in to help out.
See what we want to do. My worry is he hasn't thrown 80 innings in a season in more than 5 years because of injuries, and he's going to approach that fairly soon. So what does that mean? But you need somebody to start. No sale. no out, no starter tonight. You're going to have an opener in Taylor Moore. So I don't think they have choice right now, but in the rotation.
Rafi Devers is having such a weird year. I mean, you talk about it one day and he's struggling, the sky is falling, and then you look at, hey, he's in the top 3 in RBIs, and he was leading the RBIs category before Ohtani went on his recent binge here. What's your assessment of Devers right now?
Well, I mean, he's still the impact player, right? The home runs, the RBIs, they speak to that. But you'd like to see him getting on base more. You'd like his batting average be up a little bit. I think teams are able to be really careful with him because I'm not sure he has the protection. Certainly last night without Yoshida, it's not the same lineup. The bottom half of the order right now, it seems like this is a bit blew back over Boston 3 last night. Coming around offensively, they're getting a little more depth there. But, I think Devers right now, maybe he's trying to do too much, maybe he's trying to play the contract, maybe he's trying to be the MVP they're paying him to be. And that's never a recipe.
Major League Baseball put out the attendance numbers the other day, and I want to say that 20 teams were either at their number from last year or above. The Red Sox were actually drawing slightly less. I don't make too much of a deal of that. I'm sure people on Boston Sports Radio are. I kind of attribute that to bad weather, and they had that makeup game, in the middle of the day on a Monday or whatever during school. Am I right in that, or do we actually need to be worried that people like this team less?
Yeah, I don't worry so much about attendance. I do worry about interest. I do worry about buzz surrounding a team. The bigger thing to me right now is, phase 2 of the All-Star voting began yesterday when it's the top 2 of each position. You vote for them. Not a single Red Sox player has made it through to phase 2. And that worries me that the apathy is setting in, or they just don't resonate with the fan base, the current group of players on this roster. I mean, Alex Verdugo's been one of the best right fielders in baseball. He didn't make it through. And it wasn't that long ago that Red Sox players would be up and down the final voting because so many Red Sox fans would get involved. So there is definitely, a crossroads here that this team needs to be careful because the players just don't seem that marketable right now, and that's not a good thing for the Boston Red Sox.
TC, I know a lot of people aren't too worried about the future when we have right now in front of us, but it's cool to see 3 players for the Red Sox organization selected for the Futures game at All-Star Week. Marcelo Meyer is going to be one. Nick York is going to be the other position player. Shane Drohan on the pitcher's side. We've talked a lot about building up the farm system, and it is cool to see 3 Red Sox players playing the Futures game.
Yeah, no doubt. And guys who play up the middle, right? This has been a little bit of an issue. Cedar Rafaela. The other one now, Centerfield tripled up with AAA, Nick York and Meyer are the middle infield. I was up in Portland last week to see them, and Meyer's a really impressive guy. He's one of the top prospects in all of baseball, and really handles himself well. He's a 20-year-old. 2 years ago right now, he was in high school, playing high school baseball, and now he's batting third for a Double-A team. The youngest player to be promoted to Double-A by the Red Sox, I think, was 2010, which is a long time. And the future is bright, but these guys aren't coming this season. That maybe Rafaela, if he has a really good run AAA, but by and large, you're not going to see these guys, still for a little while. This is what we talked about, that the drafting and development has been good. You're trying to bridge the gap to get to that, and that's been a challenge.
I guess, on that note, I'll leave you on this. Would you rather, TC, be the Red Sox where you've been good one year, bad the next year, kind of middling otherwise, trying to balance it? Or would you rather be the Ben Cherington-led Pittsburgh Pirates where you've been awful for 3, 4, 5 years, but the future does look very, very bright? And, yeah, they've hit a road bump again this year, but you can see the plan coming into fruition. Which one would you rather be?
Well, I don't mind being Pittsburgh at the end of the process. I
Yes.
don't want any part of beginning that process, right? So, you can make the argument the Red Sox are already there. Right? They're last place right now. They last place last year. They're last place in 2020. That's 3 last place finishes in the last 4 years. Now, they were 2 wins away from the World Series in the other year. So, and when they brought in Heinz Bloom, they said they wanted a sustainable success. That they wanted to get away from first place, last place, that pendulum they were bouncing around. And so I I want to see the Red Sox in a year when Marcelo Meyer and Nick York and Cedar Rafael and Steve Rohan are all part of this. But I got to know what you've done between now and then to complete that picture. It's not just the real deal. Is Duran part of this? Where does Verdugo factor in? How good Yoshida? If those things all come out on the good side and you add a starting pitcher, you need another starting pitcher maybe to complement that group. But, I mean, to use the Pittsburgh analogy, I think the Red Sox are close to the end of that process. It's just, the rest of this year is teetering on the brink of being more trouble and alienating the fan base even more.
Tom Caron, Sox Bruins insider over in NESN.
Yeah, Gypsy scores. Thanks very much, TC. I'm going to react to what TC had to say after CBS News next.
6.1 WDEV FM, 96.5 W243 AT Berry, 98.3 W252 CM, 550 WDEV Waterbury.
On the hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Monica Ricks in New York. Severe weather's still a serious issue for airports. Today alone, about 6,000 flights have been affected, including George Pineda's at LAX.
Pretty disappointed. I wish we got a cancellation email. I checked it early at 3 in the morning. Nothing get here canceled, And
it's just going to get worse. CBS's Chris Van Cleve is in Phoenix.
Flights are very full, and the TSA is saying Friday could be an all-time record. At checkpoints, they expect it to be a very, very busy 4th of July holiday period.
President Biden talked about his economic and infrastructure plans today in Chicago.
We're fixing troubling bridges, upgrading our power grid, renovating our airports and ports.
But it led to bigger questions about his health. CBS's Stephen Portnoy says his sleep apnea has gotten worse.
Reporters noticed the marks on the president's face from the CPAP machine, which his aides say he's been using in recent weeks to improve his sleep. Mr. Biden's history with sleep apnea was first disclosed when he ran for vice president in 2008. But his most recent updates from the White House position have not mentioned it.
Madonna's also dealing with a health scare. She was in an ICU for a few days in a hospital in New York, getting treated for a serious bacterial infection. She is expected to make a full recovery, but hit pause on preps for her upcoming tour. 13 people have now died from extreme heat in Texas, where officials are urging people to stay hydrated. Reporter Chris Fox.
Chris Van Duzen of the Texas Department of State Health Services says it's especially important for those who work outside.
Start drinking water before you go outside. Keep drinking it as long as you're outside.
Texas just passed a law ending water break mandates for construction workers. Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
Smoke from Canada's wildfires are back and affecting our air quality.
I'm Allison Keys in Washington, where you can actually taste little particles on your tongue when you breathe in. The haze is so thick that when you look across the river at Virginia, it looks like it's under a cloud so that you can just barely see the shapes of buildings. It will be worse tomorrow.
How do you feel about Actor Kevin Spacey is facing more sexual assault charges in London. CBS's Vicky Barker is there.
Kevin Spacey spoke only to confirm his name. He watched as the 9 men and 5 women, 12 regular jurors plus 2 alternates, were sworn in. He insists he's innocent of the dozen sexual assault charges involving 4 men dating from 2001 to 2013. Opening arguments begin on Friday.
Spacey was acquitted of similar charges here in the U.S. last year. This is CBS News.
Find great hires fast with Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Hi, this is Anson Tibbetts, co-host of For the Birds, heard Saturdays on WDEV. Each week, Chip Darmstadt and I discuss bird sightings, bird counts, and activity at your feeder. You also can listen anytime to podcasts on Apple, Google, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Join us Saturdays at 7:30 and 12:15 for the Birds. 28 years on WDEV AM and FM and streaming at WDEVradio.com.
The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
Are you looking to get rid of your used mobile home? Here at Fecto Homes, we don't just sell new mobile homes, we also buy used. If you have a used mobile home that you are looking to sell, we can either accept it as trade and apply the value to a new home with us or purchase it outright. We offer fair prices and quick removal of your mobile home. So reach out to us for a quote today. Pecto Homes, 350 River Street, Montpelier, or visit us at pectohomes.com for more information.
You think you know fun? Let me introduce you to our kind of fun. The kind of fun that just hits right. The kind of fun that's for the kids. The kind of fun where you wake up at the track. It's the kind of fun you can only have at New England's NASCAR race, the Grand 301 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's a wicked fast, wicked fun weekend full of racing, camping, and friends. July 14th to 16th. Get your tickets today at nhms.com.
WDEV is Vermont's preeminent news station. For 92 years, we've been at the forefront of reporting local, state, regional, and national news for listeners in Vermont. We're looking for that next generation newscaster to continue our legacy of excellence. Apply now by sending your materials to S. Cormier at radiovermont.com. For job description and duties, log on to WDEVradio.com. WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group is an equal opportunity employer.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Red Sox baseball about 4.5 minutes from now. Good conversation with Tom Caron, our Sox insider over at NESN. Yeah, so the Red Sox attendance is down from last year, just barely. I put no stock in that, right? You look at the bad weather in April. You look at some of the bad weather they had even into May, right? It's cold. It's dreary. You look at the makeup games, which were put, I think they played a makeup game on, a Thursday or a Monday or something when school's going on. That's hard to get people to. So I get that, right? Like the attendance thing doesn't really bother me. What TC says about, I wonder if this team has marketable stars and all-star voting and if apathy is setting in, that's more in line with the conversation we were just having. And it kind of proves my point, right? When TC says the Red Sox don't have marketable stars, they don't have homegrown players for the most part that you can latch onto. And that's what the Red Sox are trying to replicate. Again, Devers is one of them, but Devers doesn't have the personality that Mookie had or that Bogarts had. He's not that guy. He's more reclusive. I don't know that Devers wants to be marketed. So you're waiting for a Meyer. You're waiting for a Nick York. You're waiting for a Blaze Jordan. You're waiting for Bayo to rise up here, Casas to rise up. That's what the Red Sox are trying to build. I mean, I look around baseball and I think, okay, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jazz Chisholm, Ronald Acuna Jr., Julio Rodriguez. Not only are they all good, they're all homegrown players on their team. Young, homegrown players who are ascending, who fans can resonate with, and fans will support. So, again, where all this came from is I read this article today that said that this guy who's been a Red Sox fan for 50 years is detached from this team. And I'm saying I'm never detached, so that's not me. There is a small segment of sports fans that are like me, that are always invested. But for the casual fan like this guy, I think your problem is not just that the team is average, it's that the team doesn't have enough homegrown players, and that's what they're working towards building. You don't have to like it, but that's what they're building. Texter, again, wants to know what the Red Sox plan is. Well, the Red Sox plan has been to try to thread a very thin needle. Okay, again, think about it like the NFL, right? It's easier terms here in the NFL. After Tom Brady left the Patriots, what did the Patriots do, right? The Patriots had a cap crunch, so they couldn't go out and sign a lot of people. But what they do at quarterback, they went and got Cam Newton. And Cam Newton wasn't great, and Cam Newton wasn't awful. And with Cam Newton, they finished 7-9. Okay, so as a result, they finished 7-9. And they had like the 15th pick in the draft, I think it was. That's where they ended up getting Mac the next year. They had 15th pick in the draft. Like, you're a very average team at that rate. Well, if they had not signed Cam and played with Stidham, they could have gone 4-12, and they would have tanked it. And maybe they could have reset everything much quicker, but they elected to try to do a delicate balance. Well, hey, we're still going to be competitive. We're going to build for the future a bit, but we're still going to try to stay competitive. And, they were interesting for that year, but not interesting enough to make the playoffs, and they weren't bad enough to go and get a top pick. Red Sox have done the same thing, and we liked it in 2021, and a lot of you probably don't like it right now. Marlins 46-34, Red Sox 40-40. Braxton Garrett 3-2 with a 3.64 for Miami. Caleb Orts, the opener of a bullpen game for the Sox. Luis Arias leads off for Miami at second. Jorge Soler is the DH. Brian De La Cruz is in left. Jazz Chisholm is back. He's in center. Garrett Cooper's at first. Gene Segura's at third. Joey Wendell's at short. Jonathan Davis bats ninth. He's in right. I glossed over Nick Fortes, who's the 8-hitter. He's the catcher. For the Sox, Verdugo in right, Turner at first. Rob Refsnyder's in left. Rafi Devers at third. Adam Duvall, the DH. Christian Arroyo at second. Kike Hernandez in center. Connor Wong, the catcher. And David Hamilton is the shortstop, and he bats ninth. That'll do it for us. We'll see you on Friday. There is no Brady Farkas show tomorrow because we have we have earlier Red Sox baseball with a 5:10 pregame show.